And just in case anybody is seeing us right now, we will be live in 1 second. And there, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Happy Hour podcast. This is our second episode that we have had 2 days in a row. We normally don't do that. Of course, you know, we're here. This is our regularly scheduled episode. Of course, Jess Boots is joining us a little bit early. Yeah. So we're like, hey, you know, let's get started. Of course, Socrates is here with me. Tom Nutty will be here probably closer to 6 o'clock. And we're like, hell, let's just go ahead, get rolling along with it. And Jess, like, are you like, do you live in Florida or are you mainly there? And how was that hurricane when that recently came through?
Oh my God. Yeah. So I'm from Florida. That hurricane was completely unpredictable. It hit us hard, but our house was fine. Everything like within us is okay, but everything around us got destroyed. So we're still picking up from it. Everyone's still picking up from it. There's a lot of damage and yeah.
Like I look at it like this, like Florida, like, you know, I'm from Maryland. I'm a Maryland boy, you know, and I have a few friends that live in Florida, and they were always like, dude, come. And a few former friends. Yeah, and a few former friends, and like they're always like, dude, you know, come move to Florida, and I'm like, I can't do that. You guys have Florida man, you guys have alligators, and you guys have hurricanes. I can't deal with all that at one time. Like, you know, yeah. I mean, just imagine that. Like you guys get like a tornado rolling through there. Like it's a whirlwind of shit. Like you got Florida men flying around, you got alligators flying around. It's kind of like Sharknado, but just with like weird Florida, you know, guys that are always getting into shit and all that. Like, it's crazy. But what we're going to do real quick is we never really got a chance to do it last night. We're going to get into our featured beer, which continues on from last week, which is from Rusty Rail Brewing, and it is Fog Monster. Now, Rusty Rail, they have a couple of variations of Fog Monster. I believe there's 3. They have a green, they have a blue, and we have the orange, which is the creamsicle New England style IPA with fruit. So shout out the Rusty Rail Brewing Company. It's a New England style India Pale Ale with orange, vanilla, and lactose, which is weird because like if it has lactose, if you're lactose intolerant and someone gives you one of these beers, yeah, you probably should not be drinking that because shit's going to go south really, really quick. And then also what we're going to do is something that always becomes a very neglected part of our show is our featured shot, which is almost done, which is Hartley VSOP. So shout out to Hartley VSOP. Yeah. Oh man, we've had this for a while. Mainly because of the fact of I kind of no sell it because I hate it so much that I'm like, hey, blah blah blah. And people are like, oh well, what? Why are you shitting on the stuff that you drink? I'm like, well, how come everybody always has to give a positive review on stuff that they
You're like Sam when you're drinking that whiskey.
Yeah.
How do you drink that shit, brother?
So here we go, and there's that.
Goes down nice and smooth, right?
Now, Jess, of course, you have Exotica coming up, correct? That's like what, 2 weeks from today?
It's next week. It's like this week coming up. Yeah.
So do you go to all the Exoticas or do you just go to the Jersey one?
So I've been to Jersey, West Virginia, and then I went to the Miami one just as like a customer, just to like actually go to the event. You know what I mean? Because you always get like stuck working. So yeah, this one we're gonna work at. I'm excited. They're always pretty fun. There's always, you know, a lot of interesting people and
so that's West Virginia.
Yeah. That kind of so they did one in West Virginia.
Oh well, not West Virginia. Virginia, I guess. Like it's DC they call it, but it's really Virginia.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because we have press passes to the one in DC that's coming up in December. So if you'll be there, we'll be sure to say hey. And you know all stuff. So yeah. So now with the conventions, what are like some of the wildest things you've seen at the conventions?
I mean, there's a lot of fun stuff there. Like they have like these giant like swings coming from the ceiling. There's like at the Virginia one, there was this like seesaw that I almost busted my ass on.
A what? What
a giant seesaw on a concrete floor, and like I couldn't resist myself, but like I'll have to post it later, but I fell like on it and like like I didn't bust my head, but I had to like hold up to the thing and stuff. But They do this like Miss Exotica contest. There's like a moaning like competition and stuff. It's yeah.
It's cool because it's funny because we're going to go there and we have an interview. We haven't announced it yet, but we're going to actually be running an actual episode live from Exotica while we're there. But we're also going to be recording stuff to air in January for our spinoff show, Fully Fermented. So that's all the stuff that we want to, get recorded for that is like the moaning contest and, all that fun stuff. And, so you've been there. So you said that there's a lot of interesting people there. What is like the most interesting experience with a person you've ever had at an Exotica?
I mean, like, I swear it's more with the people that aren't doing the porn stuff, right? So it's the people like there are people dressed as like a giant penis, and there's people just like in the craziest costumes that you've ever seen and stuff. It's really cool, like just the effort that people put out to go out there and just have a good time.
Have you had any bad experiences with anybody there? Like any like weird fans that are just kind of like, yes, we bought every pair of underwear you've ever had that and we, can you please sign these for us, as they like just take a big whiff of them and then hand them down for you to sign, like anything weird like that?
No, I haven't had that, but I'd be like fine with it if I came across that. We did have one of our guys that comes into my room all the time. He's like a moderator in our room. And he was there and we ended up hanging out with him the entire night. We drank with him. Like we had the best time with him. So it's kind of cool to see the people that like know you because they know you like inside and out. Know what I mean?
And we followed you for a while. And of course, you're on, what is it? I'm going to try to get the name right. Charterbait? Is that what it is?
Chatterbait.
Okay. Yep. You're on that. Now, with that, now you obviously do like nude stuff, but you don't actually do like, I haven't seen any like adult film type stuff on there. Like you don't do like any of that, or?
So I've like touched into that, but I guess kind of like you, I'm just better with live.
Yeah. Okay.
It's hard to go on this like scripted thing. I try it. I'm like the shittiest actor that anyone's ever seen. So it's more fun to me to go live, and we do things like, beer pong. We try to I cook on there and different things, keep it like interesting, keep myself having fun,
Nice. And I mean, I always looked at it as the live element is that anything can happen live. You never know what's going to happen live. And that's exactly why each and every week, I tell people this show it's live now. It will be live every single week moving forward. I don't do pre-records. Like if I go on vacation or something like that, the show just doesn't happen, or we do whatever episode we have 2 back to back or something like that. So it makes up for that missing week because that's what I'm used to. Like, and that's just the pro wrestling element. It was actually funny. I was telling Socrates on the way here that it's funny of how much of my wrestling aura is in this show. Like at one point I was Mr. Happy Hour, Chase Rawlings, which Mr. Happy Hour, spun off of Happy Hour TV, which was a TV show we had. And then it became Mr. Happy Hour. And now it's Happy Hour Podcast. So, it's just so many different elements. Like some of the corny things we have relates to another character I did way back in the day. And I'm like, it's funny that technically I'm not wrestling anymore, but that part of me as a wrestler is still there through the podcast. So, it's just, it blows me away. And, you bring up the beer pong stuff, and I know we started a little bit early. So I think in probably about like 10 minutes or so, we will get into that because I want everybody who's tuning in at 6 o'clock, because the beer pong stuff, I saw that and I was just kind of like, oh.
I got to flex on it anytime I can,
But no, so Socrates is so Psycho, you haven't been on in a while. You were with us last night. Well, you were with us last night, but you said you had a couple of things that you wanted to talk about that we weren't able to get to yesterday. So, while we're still early, what is it, that you wanted to, discuss and talk about?
There was a few things, but I have CTE, so I forgot. Ravens, I don't want to talk about the Ravens.
Yes, the Ravens again, of course, lost tonight. So, and it's actually funny because we're talking about that. Yeah, because
I did want to say that just for the record, this is the real high priest. Because I'm not going to name names, but there might be somebody out there who is impersonating.
Yes, somebody who hacked into your Facebook and is posting as you and posing as Socrates. So, and I caught
I think I actually had a poem about that.
Yeah, and it's funny because I caught wind of it because I was like I was messaging you. I'm like, hey man, you want to go to the Orioles game? And you were like, yeah, sure, whatever. Just call me. And I'm like, what the fuck do I need to call you for? Like, I'm asking you now, do you want to go? Like, and I was like, wait a minute. So I called you and I was like, dude, like, what the fuck? And you were like, what are you talking about? I'm like, dude, somebody's in your Facebook page and they're like posting all kinds of crazy ass fucking. So
if you got an impersonator, that means you made it.
Oh yeah,
I feel like I'm fucking like I'm Beyonce or somebody. Like I have an impersonator.
Oh yeah, do you have any fake people doing fake profiles as you? I know that's a huge thing now. Huge thing.
Yes, I do. And they message people and they actually ask for like things and stuff. So yeah, it's one of them's like Jess Boots 90 or something. Like I don't know. It's
wow. I saw that when I tagged you in some of the stuff or whatever, it was there, which actually I think I have you like your regular one on Instagram. But I know I saw that other one too when I went to tag and I was like, huh. And it's funny because that's big in the adult industry. And those profiles are conning people out of so much money. Like I heard something recently, and of course, shout out to Tom Nutty, who's coming in with us. We started a little bit early right here on YouTube Live. What's going on, Tom?
What's up, guys? Thought I was late for a minute when I got in here.
No, you're fine. We got everything connected, and Jess was already waiting in the room, so we were like, "Fuck it, let's just go ahead and roll." Yeah. I don't think a wrestling show normally starts late. However, we always start early. But no, like what I was saying, it's like it's crazy the impersonators of adult film stars and celebrities.
Like me.
And there was something, and Tom, you might have heard about this. They were talking about it on 98 Rock that apparently there was this guy that was posing as a Russian astronaut that was stuck in space that was talking to this woman. And she was sending him all kinds of money and shit. And it's like, wait, whoa. Hey, let's back this up. Hold on.
Those kind of people deserve to be scammed on every level.
Oh yeah.
I feel zero sympathy for the lady that thought she was sending money to a fucking astronaut.
Yeah, like, and honestly, how are they supposed to get it? Yeah,
why do you need money in space? What are you gonna go to 7-Eleven and buy a fucking burrito on the moon?
He used the excuse that there was some sort of like charge for like them to take off and come back home. And it's like, how are you saying
if they don't pay, they're gonna leave my there in space?
I'm sorry, but Venmo doesn't work at the International Space Station. That's just how
just use my ATM card.
Does it work though? Like how does it? Because you're in space and there's like 8 billion satellites up there.
What in the fuck do you need money for while you're on the space station?
Yeah, like what you're gonna get prepackaged ice cream like that's it.
You run into some aliens and they want to sell you something. I don't think they take our currency though.
Bro, they got Capital Meats guys up there fucking just waiting.
And it's funny because like, well, what about like alien prostitutes? Like, like what is that like? They just kind of roll up and it's just kind of like, all right, we like, but they ask you to send it in like this weird currency.
I banged a half Mexican prostitute once. And I don't know if she was fully legal. Does that count as an alien prostitute?
that will be considered an alien prostitute. Yes.
This is the one that claimed she fucked Benji Madden from Good Charlotte. That story? I never know that story.
No. Oh. Well, you know what? Just go ahead and let it rip because now that you said it, now I need to know.
This is about 15 years ago. I was fucking this little half Mexican chick prostitute named Parody.
Okay. I love how Socrates just openly says, "Yeah, there's Mexican." He just says prostitute. Like, hey, like he has no shit.
When I get done with this one, I'm going to tell you the story about the psych ward that you asked about. Anyway, it was like 15 years ago, and we got to talk about music somehow. I don't remember how, but she asked me. She's like, "Hey, do you know the band Good Charlotte?" I was like, "Yeah, actually, I just saw them a couple weeks ago." She's like, yeah. She's like, I grew up in Waldorf where they did. She's like, I actually had sex with Benji before they got famous. I'm like, bullshit. I'm like quizzing her on stuff. I'm like, wait a second. I'm like, when did this happen? And like the story seemed pretty legit. Yeah. And at the time, he was banging what's her name? Lionel Richie's daughter, Nicole Richie.
Okay.
So I said to this chick, Gabby, I was like, so he went from you to Nicole Richie and you went from him to me. I think he won.
Yeah, he definitely
here's the story.
Won that.
Here's the thing. I want to believe it's true because if it is true, then I'm Eskimo Brothers with Benji from Good.
Oh,
and this chick, oh my gosh, she had an ass on her.
Oh my god.
But there was one other story that you asked about that I will get into.
Yeah.
This was a few weeks ago. High Priest spent a couple nights at, I think in clinical terms, they call it the loony bin.
Yes, and that's not the first time that you've spent time in the loony bin, unfortunately.
For the first day and a half, they didn't give me my fucking Ativan, so I'm calling you out right now because I don't even know. Ativan is one of the worst drugs you can withdraw from. It's like worse than heroin.
Really?
Yes.
They
didn't give it to me for 36 hours. So it was the worst 36 hours of my life. But then things got, after they gave me the Ativan, I was good. But then things got interesting because there was a young black fella in there, and let's just say he got put in the quiet room.
Wait, what's the quiet room?
That's where they put you if you're not behaving. That's where you get straight
so it's basically like what is it, a solitary confinement, but you're in a straight jacket, and they're just like, sorry dude, you're just going in here and you need to be like, what happens if you, like, it's called the silent room. What happens if you're not quiet? Like, what happens then?
Well, the room is like soundproof, so if you're in there, nobody can hear you.
Okay.
But picture this, okay? I'm sitting in the activity room, which is right next to the nurses' station. So I'm sitting there chilling, and I hear somebody punch the glass on the nurses' station.
Oh no, Michael Myers is escaping.
Yes, I look and I hear this guy just start yelling. And apparently, I don't know if he was schizo or what his deal was, but he was trying to say that one of the nurses told him that his mother had called, and he's like, my mother's been dead 15 years. You think this is funny? This is a fucking joke? Let me tell you something, you white bitch. You finished. And then as they're pulling him away, he says, and you know what? You can kiss my dead mother's ass. And I turned to the guy next to me. I was like, you know what? That wasn't something I expected to hear today.
So he's like, I need to get out of here.
Yes. The next day was actually the day I got out. Once again, I was right there in the hallway, and he comes out of nowhere and he fucking goes after one of the people that works there.
Oh no!
He got removed by the police.
Oh, wow.
So then there was another interesting character. This guy wasn't violent. He kept pulling his dick out in the hallway. So he also got put in the quiet room.
No, like imagine that. Like you're in a quiet room. Like just imagine this. Like you're orderly at an insane asylum, and this guy's like, going off talking about, you can kiss my dead mother's ass, and then next thing you know, like I can't imagine what that's like working in a place like that. And then like all of the shit that you will see. Like I asked you, I was like, what's the weird shit you saw at Exotica? No, fuck that. What? Like imagine the shit you see in the psych ward. Like, you sitting there and this dude's like, masturbating to a Tyrannosaurus Rex because he's just excited about it. Like, like what the fuck? But
he was claiming that somebody stole his penis.
I
swear to God, I heard him say this to one of the guys that worked there. He was saying somebody stole his penis and they gave him a smaller one. He was pissed off.
Oh,
right. I hate when that happens.
I know, right? That's the worst.
Yeah, you stole my penis. You know where it ended up at? The penis that he stole ended up in Dahmer's freezer with all the other dicks that he kept in there in his trophies. That's where it ended up.
There was a positive, and there was a good part about the whole experience. They actually have really good brownies in there, like these little brownies with whipped cream, which I was happy about. And there was a really hot ass nurse I was talking to, so that was fun.
Nice.
And they gave me a new medication, but I had to stop taking it.
Oh,
because it gives you a limp biscuit in the business. So can't have that.
And like
because it makes you happy. But how can you be happy if you can't?
I'm gonna let you know. Like I got home and I like barely made it here on time, and then I stumbled into this. And I'm not sure what the fuck's going on right now.
And of course, we're right here on YouTube Live. We started a little bit early. Of course, for those of you tuning in now, this is the Happy Hour podcast. Of course, I'm Ray. Tom Nutty is here tonight, and Socrates is here with us. This is, of course, the first night. Socrates, of course, Socrates, Tom Nutty, Socrates. This is the first time these two guys have ever work together on the show. And of course, we were being joined by our featured guest, Jess Boots. And of course, I said after 6 o'clock, we were going to get into it, the beer pong stuff. Now, I reached out to you to be on the show. And the main thing that I saw was you advertising that you were beer pong champion. I'm like, whoa, hold on. Like, that was the main thing I was like, okay, she is advertising beer pong champion. I Me, I had the most legendary 2-year beer pong streak at parties that anybody can ever recall. I won beer pong and costumes. I've won beer pong. Like, it's the kind of thing that I'm very calculated to where someone's holding the cup and you know how it's the rule where you make it in their cup, the game's over. It's shit like that where I would be down and they would have like 8 cups and I would have 1 and I would still come back and win. So my thing was, I'm like, the only gripe I have is that she's claiming to be beer pong champion. I'm like, I am so proud of the beer pong. So what is it with the beer pong content? Like how, of course, you go live, you say you do a lot of the beer pong stuff. So how did that come to be in all of your content?
I mean, I guess I just wanted something to do with my hands for a little bit. You know what I mean? And like, I know I'm good at this. Like, this is like my sport. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm like just nasty at it. Like,
I think we need a
I'm just insanely good.
Yeah. Well, see, my thing is I'm like, all right, well, you go to all the Exoticas, and then I had that legendary streak. So the only thing I can think of is that if you come to Exotica in DC, we have no other choice but to have the first ever happy hour podcast beer pong face off. Chase Rawlings versus Jess Boots. And that's the thing. And I'm just like that the whole time I've been thinking, I'm like, that is something that needs to happen. It needs to manifest and happen. And
But
of
if you
course,
get beat on your own show,
yeah. And of course, a lot of your photos and your content, you have them right behind you. What is it with the plush Mario? Like, I see that plush Mario in so much of your content. Like, I need to know what it is with the Mario companion with your content.
To be honest, he's just a badass. Like, I got it for a kid originally, but it has this like thing in the background that like you have to be 3+.
So there's another little Mario attached to that. Like, he has like a mini me like attached to his back.
He's got a lot of personality. That's the thing about Mario, is he has a ton of personality. Yeah. So this is little Mario, but like dress him up every day and put him somewhere different. Like, everybody asks like, where's Mario and stuff. Like, he's always doing something weird. Like, if he's just like tilted over in the corner, he wears sunglasses sometimes. Like,
so you created your own plush stalker, pretty much. That's pretty much what it is. Like, Mario's just always at any given time, just kind of sitting somewhere in the shadows looking on. And I mean, now do you look at that thing differently now that you hear Chris Pratt's voice coming out of that thing? Because everybody's all upset about Chris Pratt voicing Mario. And I'm just kind of like, I'm happy to have a Super Mario Brothers movie.
He's not going to be Captain Lou.
Yeah, no. Like, aside from that garbage, and I don't know if you guys like it.
The Mario movie was, I still can't get over that. Yeah,
like the one with John Leguizamo and the guy from Who Framed Roger Rabbit as Mario and Luigi.
I had to apologize to my mom for making her take me to that because it was so bad.
Now with that, like, did you guys see that movie? And it had that weird like lizard Bowser or whatever and all that. Like, he was like a human Bowser, and I was like, what the fuck? And they had like some Lizard King guy, and I'm like,
that was actually one of Hillary Clinton's first roles.
And Jess, aside from the stuff that you do online, like, it looks like do you bartend or work in a bar? Because a lot of your photos online too, it looks like that you're kind of in like a bar setting. Like, do you also work at a bar as well, or is it just a part of like some of the content that you do?
So no, I'm just a really good drinker. Yeah. I'm just so good that people would think that I work there, but I'm just like really good at drinking there.
So
we call that being a regular.
Yeah, yes, that is being a regular. Yeah. And of course,
you got to be good at something.
Yeah, and of course, this is a happy hour podcast, so I have to ask, what is your go-to? So of course, we have what actually are you drinking right now? Because what is that? Is that Florida Man beer?
Yes.
Oh,
this is my favorite. Yes. This is I start my days with this when I'm drinking. I like to start with Florida Man. It's like 8.5%. It's super strong. It's really good. And then I decide where I'm going to go percentage wise from there. But like, This is a great beer too, because you can take this with you on a walk and it doesn't get like nasty. So I like to walk with my beers. So it keeps its carbonation throughout the walk.
So in
I
Florida,
always
can you
start
just
with
walk around
this.
with beer?
No,
I
right.
always walk around with beer.
Most alcoholics lose their license at a certain point, and they just have to walk places.
I'm not gonna lie.
But then they say shit like, "Oh no, I like walking with my beer."
I like
Yeah. So someone just sits there one day and they're like, "So what are you doing?" "Oh, nothing. I'm just drinking Florida, man." It's like, oh, well, all right then.
Well, I do that every day.
Yeah.
My mom actually, she's like, "Why do you take a beer with you when you go for a walk?" I'm like, "Well, because I'm an alcoholic."
So tell us, Florida man, what brewery is that through? So actually, like who actually manufactured? Because I've never seen that before.
So it's Cigar City Brewing.
Oh,
And it's in
like
Tampa.
awesome.
It's out of Tampa.
Nice.
But I mean, I've tried a lot of beer. Like this is one of my go-to favorite starter beers.
And it's funny because I've been to Florida before. I've been to Florida one time. We went to it was like the bottom of Florida. It was near Venice. We were out near Venice, and we went to Siesta Key Beach. And that was the first time when I was at Siesta Key Beach that I'd ever seen Amish people at the beach. And it blew it blew me away because, mind you, they're in their full Amish garb in the water, and I'm just sitting there in my trunks. No, it was flat out Amish people because their horses were shitting all over the parking lot at Siesta Key Beach. And we're sitting there and we're looking, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, how the fuck? And one of them went underwater and they're wearing a bonnet, and like they almost lost their bonnet, and I'm like, what is happening right now? What is
in the Amish religion that says you can't go to the beach?
Yeah. And Jess, you kind of like lit up when I said that. Is that something that's common down there? Because I know I've never been to Ocean City, Maryland. I've never seen Amish people in the water like in Ocean City, because I don't know. Like, I guess they just don't go to Ocean City, but Florida is the only place I've ever seen it.
It's a lot closer.
Yeah, it's crazy common. There are Amish people everywhere. Like they're everywhere, and they're wearing their full get up. It's like 90 degrees and they're head to toe and just strolling around living a normal life. It's crazy. I don't know how I don't know.
That sounds horrible.
So many.
Well, here's the thing. Like, now with your content, you can just dress up like an Amish person, and then you just do this whole scene dressed up in like the whole Amish garb in the water. And what I'm going to get into real quick is something we couldn't get into last night, and that is the legend. Have any of you guys ever heard of Richard Chase? He was considered the vampire killer.
No relation to Ray.
So yeah, no relation to me. Of course, it's a different spelling. It is Chase. So.
What a fucking segue.
So Richard Chase, the grisly crimes of the vampire of Sacramento. In the late 1970s, serial killer Richard Chase murdered at least 6 people in Sacramento, California, and drank the blood of his victims. So now we know why he is the vampire killer.
That's good, because I was wondering.
Yeah.
People's blood.
And even among other serial killers, Richard Chase, the vampire of Sacramento, was profoundly disturbed. Well, I would imagine so. And it says even from a very young age, he lived under a series of powerful delusions that had fatal consequences. Richard Chase ultimately became infamous when he killed and mutilated the bodies of 6 victims in Sacramento, California in the late 1970s. Given his nickname, it doesn't come as much of a surprise that Richard Chase's trademark was drinking the blood of his victims after he killed them. But believe it or not, drinking the victim's blood wasn't even the vampire's killer most disturbing trait. All right. So now we're going to take predictions. What is his most disturbing trait? Because I feel that drinking the blood of the victims is kind of disturbing. So what possibly could be more disturbing than that? Just like if you could think of anything that could be more disturbing of drinking the victim's blood, what would you think that would be?
I mean, like, that's pretty intense.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I guess like maybe like brain eating could be a little bit more intense or something. But
It's kind of like a Dahmer, like Hannibal Lecter
Yeah, like a cannibal. Yeah, like a cannibal or something like that. But I mean, that's pretty touching close to cannibalism. So
Yeah, well,
I don't know. That's pretty deep.
Yeah, well, it's funny because Jeffrey Dahmer, he worked at a blood bank for a little bit, so he also drank the blood of his not of his victims, but he just drank people's blood. Like he fucking laid in bed and covered himself. And if anybody has seen the series Dahmer, and it's not really a spoiler because if you know anything of Jeffrey Dahmer, you know all this shit already. They're just retouching it, but he pretty much laid in bed and covered himself in blood from random people. Like imagine, like it could be AIDS blood that he's covering himself with. Like
imagine all the people that took all the precautions and still got AIDS during that time, and he was just out there fucking willy-nilly doing what he wanted.
Oh yeah,
and never fucking got AIDS.
Yeah, we lose Freddie Mercury, but then we get to keep Jeffrey Dahmer. That's not really kind of like a fair trade there. Like, what the fuck? All right, so let's see. So Richard Chase before he became the vampire of Sacramento. So let's see. Richard Chase, signs of mental illness at a young age, but his father, a strict, sometimes physically abusive parent, did little to get him help. Chase was disturbed and unhappy as a child. His symptoms grew worse in adolescence. All right, so let's see. What I want to know what he did.
I bet he just took his blood on a walk because he wasn't allowed to drive anymore.
He was dragging a bag of blood behind him.
He's got one of those IVs on a roller, and he's just walking down the street.
Instead of walking and drinking Florida man beer like Jess does, he's just walking fucking while he's drinking his fucking vial of blood.
From Sacramento, right?
Yeah.
Well, maybe he was drinking the blood while watching a Sacramento Kings game. He's just watching a Kings game by itself.
That could have been it. And it said psychopathic drugs exacerbated the symptoms of his illness. Well, I guess so.
Wait, what kind of drugs?
Psychotropic drugs. And it says that he became convinced on several occasions that his heart had stopped, and at times he thought he was a walking corpse. Well, this really gets into the vampire type thing. And it says his strongest and most powerful delusions involved his skull. He felt that his cranial bones had split apart and began to shift beneath his skin. So wait, is he saying that he thinks that his skull had an earthquake? Because it sounds like that he's like, it says that it was changing places, like jumbling like puzzle pieces, and he shaved his head in an effort to monitor their movements. So this guy like needs a Richter scale for like his head. Like at any point do you just wake up and go, okay, wait a minute, like my brain is splitting? And at what point of that do you just think, okay, I'm going to kill people and I'm going to drink their blood? Now, Jess, let's roll it out like this. You have murdered somebody. So, okay, they're dead. They're murdered. Like, what is your first thought? Because, like, Dahmer and all that, we know what their first thoughts were. We know what the vampire killer's thoughts were. What is your first thought? You're like, oh my God, I just killed somebody. Like, what goes through your mind at that point? Like,
well, I'm gonna hide the body. Like that's the first thing is first, last, everything is hide the body like somewhere very, very strategic. Try not to get caught. Like cover all my bases. You gotta I wouldn't be.
Dress him like an Amish person and throw him in the
ocean. You just take the body for a walk. You just go like, all right, come on. You put him in a wagon.
Dude, imagine having to hide a body, but your license is suspended, so you just have to walk him in a wagon while you're drinking your beer. Like, fuck. This would be so much easier if I could drive.
Yeah.
If you've got a body behind you, I think your license being suspended is the least of your problems.
Yeah, I really think so. Like, if you're chugging someone along in a radio flyer and fucking like,
he's like, hey, is that a body in the truck?
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, you want a suspended license? Well, fuck.
All right. It says at the age of 25, Chase was diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia, which me personally, I have experienced that. My dad, who rest his soul, actually the 14th was 6 years since he's passed. He was a Vietnam veteran and he had paranoid schizophrenia along with PTSD. So that's a very serious thing to deal with. And then it says his fascination with blood earned him the nickname Dracula, along most of the hospital's assistants who witnessed him kill and attempt to drink the blood of several birds in an effort to stave off the effects of a poison that he imagined was slowly turning his own blood to powder.
Right. He started the bird flu.
Yeah. So this is where West Nile came from. This guy thinks that his blood is turning into powder. And so he's Ozzy Osbourne's a fucking bird. Like, that's just okay. Let me bite the head off and drink the blood of this bird. Like, this dude's highly disturbed. Like,
you know what his favorite wrestler would have been?
Who's that?
Blood.
Yeah. Blood would have definitely been his favorite wrestler. And so let's see.
What did he do that was more disturbing than drinking the blood, though? We still haven't heard.
Yeah, like they keep on giving us all this other bullshit. It's like, so let's see. In August of 1977, Nevada police found him late one night in Lake Tahoe area, covered in blood and carrying a bucket with liver in the back of his pickup. Okay. Oh, we're starting to. Since they determined that the blood and organ belonged to a cow, not a human, they let Chase go. Yet Richard Chase slipped through the cracks of the system that would have helped him protect others. And let's see. All right, I'm skipping down. Yeah. Ghastly Crimes as the Vampire of Sacramento. Ambrose Griffin, a 51-year-old man, was helping his wife bring in groceries when he became the first. So imagine you're helping your wife bring in groceries and this guy just grabs you. Like, imagine that. Like, you're sitting there, you go in the house, you're like, all right, your wife, and my wife always grabs like 17 bags at once. I'm like, look, chill. Let me grab a few bags. Like, we don't need to go in with all of them. So imagine, like, she goes in and the next thing, they turn around and dude's just gone. And it says, while driving by the street, Chase pulled out a 22 caliber pistol and shot him in the chest. And this was the beginning of an obsession. All right. So Richard Chase, we know how that works. He's a vampire, whatever. That's starting to drag on a little too much. So let's look at it like this. You're at an Exotica and dude just walks up to you and he has a vial of blood and he's just kind of sipping out of it. And he's like, hey, Jess, how are you? I'm a huge fan. I'm Richard Chase. Would you be able to sign this vial of blood for me? Like, Dick Chase is asking you to, sign a vial of blood. Like, at that point, like, does any alarm go off, or are you just kind of like, all right, fuck it, I'm signing this weirdo's blood, whatever.
I mean, like, I seriously think that I wouldn't believe that it was blood. I think that he'd be lying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think I'd probably sign it. Then later I'd find out that he was like an actual serial killer and be like,
he killed somebody at the convention, extracted their blood, put it in a vial, and he's just sipping it like a high C or a sips drink box while he's walking around the fucking convention. Imagine it. And Jess,
when I had blood in Corey Bush's mouth.
I do remember that. Yeah.
He's like, if I catch something, Socrates, I'm going to kill you.
And shockingly
I've never
he
had
did
that
not.
to do.
And now, Jess, with all the content that you shoot, what do you find was the hardest? Like, is there anything that you did that was hardest, or is there anything that went completely wrong, while you were filming any of your stuff? Because you said you like to go live just like we do, and anything can happen while you're live.
Yeah, I just trust live more. It's more natural. It's me. The second I try to act, it's super awkward. So like when I have certain like custom videos that come in and people will write like a full script, and that's what screws me up. I sound like an idiot. Like, I know it's not going to be good. Like, I have to be like, I'm so much better live.
Yeah. Now, have you ever, any of the stuff that you've ever done, photos or video wise, have there ever been any of those Amish people in the background? Because I feel like you should have pulled them in. Like, you should have been, hey, you, or like if you see any of the Mormon people, you're like, hey, you, come here, get over here. I'm recording this stuff just because it's the kind of thing like for example, right now live, for those of you listening at home, Jess is coming to us full out in a bikini. So now imagine that a Mormon comes to your house to try to sell you, like, they have their Mormon pamphlets, and the next thing you know, they're Jess just sitting in her living room in her bathing suit. She lives in Florida. That's a normal thing. Boop, 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 boop. Knock on the door. Mormon people are there. She opens the door, bathing suit on. Mormon guy at that point is just kind of like, I don't know what to do right now. I need Jesus. Like, Jesus. Well, actually, I don't know. Do more like, I see. I know very little about Mormons. Like, I don't even know if Mormons like Jesus.
Yeah,
like, I don't even know. Like,
That's-
like,
Most of the Christians who also
They have
believe
like somebody that they like. I don't know who it is, but there's a certain like dude that they like. I don't know if it's Jesus, but I know that there's like a dude, right? You know?
It's actually like one of the most ridiculous stories that ever became a religion. The guy John Smith found these like tablets in the woods, but only he could read them with like a golden rock or some bullshit. And he just basically told everybody that Jesus said he's the only one that can read it with this stupid fucking rock.
Yeah, and he said,
And then
got it from the angel Moroni. That's where he got it from.
yeah, some fucking angel came in his room and was like, "Here's a rock, read this other rock," and then it's so outlandish. I don't know where they
It's like if
decided.
Scientology was in Utah.
Scientology.
Instead of an alien, it's an angel.
And Tom, you said you came right from work. Like,
No. I had a lot of shit to do today, and I got home at like 5:50. So.
And then the panic just sets in. And of course, real quick, I'm going to shout out to Team Skeet and MILF.com. Of course, last night we had a very exclusive Team Skeet and MILF episode, which featured Reagan Fox and Leanna Lovings. That is live right now on our YouTube. Make sure you go check that out and click the subscribe button at the bottom of the screen. You will get all of our content right here from the Happy Hour podcast. And one thing that I've been wanting to talk about is I watched, like, we watch porn all the time. Of course, we have 90% of our guests are adult film stars, and you get scenes where guys shove like girls' panties into their own mouths. And my thing is that hot? Like, I mean, like, is that something that is for the movies, or is that something where some girls like, you shove my fuck, I don't care, you take my underwear, I farted in it all day, you shove it down my throat? Like, I mean, Jess, is that something that like you sit there and you look at it and you're like, I want to have that? Like, I need my panties in my own mouth while we're doing the deed. Like, I mean, is because I mean, me, like, I don't know, I don't know how I feel about that myself, and I'm just kind of like what
I may or may not
yeah.
have gone through a couple of
Oh, Jesus.
It's honestly the only way I can come.
This is Richard Chase.
Yeah.
Period blood man.
Oh,
He would drink the period blood and he'd shove it in her mouth.
yeah. Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, it'd be the reverse effect. He'd be like, "Oh, okay. I noticed. You have the wrapper to your tampon in the trash can over there.
Sunday, bloody
Yeah.
Sunday.
Send me that. Like, no, I mean, like,
Or what if he was like, I want to drink your blood, and then she's like, all right, I'm on my period, and he's like, oh God, not like that.
yeah.
She
Slow
grossed
down.
out. She grossed out.
So Jess, is that something like if someone were like, hey, let me do this, or would there ever be a time where you drank enough Florida man beer where you would be like, I need this to happen to me? Like, I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't know the thought process in that. And like, I've seen it a half dozen times in videos. I'm like, is this something that's just a porn exclusive thing, or does this happen in real life? Like, I don't know.
I just told you I've done it.
I don't think so. I think it's more like just a kink thing. Like, I think if it happened in real life, like maybe like once, like I don't think it's something that you would like bust out every single time you're like
Yeah.
doing it. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I think a lot of guys like to be dominated these days. So I think it's just another form of like early domination. Like because like back in the day, everyone wanted to like dominate the girl. Now the girl's dominating the guy a little bit. So
Yeah.
I've seen that a lot. So I think it's just another form of like girl domination, like early stages before they're like, peg me. You know?
So now my question lies is, who does the most dominating, you or the plush Mario? Because I feel like the plush Mario may kind of take like a Chucky approach, and like he just comes up and I mean, he can beat a big giant green lizard, like and he always gets the princess. So I feel like Mario is like one of the like Mario is a straight pimp. Like that's the way it is. Like
yeah, I'd like to take the dominant role, but when it comes to Mario, I mean, he's unpredictable with what he does, you know, so it's really hard to predict him. Sometimes like I have a sex machine, sometimes he sits on top of the sex machine, and you know what I mean, like he has a lot of character, like you can't predict this dude.
So wait, so you said he sits on top of the sex machine, so you use the sex machine and you're looking and Mario's on top of it. So it's pretty much like Mario is the sex machine. Like that's the whole thing. Like now I need in my life to be able to look up at a sex machine as a sex machine is just ripping me apart, and just look up and just see Mario riding that thing like someone on top of a bull, like just going nuts. Like he's just a bucking bronco, like just on top of a bull while that thing's just going nuts. Like
Yeah, Mario's a complete beast, and my master, my sex machine has a name too. His name is Master D, and he is a badass. I have him right here. This is Master D. He doesn't have his penis on.
Oh,
that's a fucking
D.
nail gun.
All right. Yeah, that definitely looks like a nail. So with that thing, so does something go on the end of that, or like what like, because it does look like a nail gun. It looks like it just fires stuff out of the front of it.
Yeah, there's a little there's a penis that you can attach to the end of it. I'm trying to see if I have it like nearby, but yeah, you just attach a little penis on the end of it, and that's your you can adjust it. It moves up and down anyway.
Oh man, cool. So like that's actually like the kind of, so for anybody watching at home, if you ever have a hard, like if you're ever at home and you're down on all fours and you're like, man, I really wish I could position something great, that'd be a great thing to get, because it moves up and down. Like now, once you put it on there, is it more of a drill effect, or like is it more of a stall effect? Like does it spin or does it saw? Because
it just it's like maybe I should plug it in and show you guys. But
yes, definitely. I would love to like see, because I don't think that thing can get us in trouble on YouTube, because it's not like anything that's real. But you also like, if it works without like, I guess the dick
attachment,
the attachment or whatever, I think we're fine. And then seeing Mario on top of that thing like a bull, like that would be completely. Only on the Happy Hour podcast will you get demonstrations like this. This is amazing.
This is the weirdest QVC ad I've ever seen.
Yeah, so he has a little thing right here.
Oh. Like from our view, it looks like that thing is just plunging Mario in its eye. Like that's all I see. That thing is literally like eye fucking Mario. Right now. Like that's totally what's happening.
I wasn't expecting to hear that today.
Yeah. So with one of those, like how long have you had? Like how long? What is like the lifespan on one of those sides? Like how long can it? What's the mileage on that thing? What can it fuck for before eventually it's just kind of like, okay, this one's done. It needs Viagra. I need to move on to another one. Like,
so this guy, I've been through about 6 of them in the past year.
Jesus
it's my favorite one though. I've tried other ones. This is my absolute favorite, but yes, they pass away, and I've buried them in yards, and we've had funeral services for them. It's very sad when Master D dies, but we just get another one. But yeah, they pass away often. Yes. It's a very tough time to go through.
Have you ever tried to go through an airport with one of those?
Oh,
not yet, but I'd love to see what happens. They're only like
I can tell you what happens.
They pull it out of their bag. They're like, "Is this a nail gun?" And then you start moving it for them, and they're like, "What is this thing?"
Maybe worse than the cleaning bag on the
Yeah. So with that, is that the only device like that you use? Or because I brought up on episodes before that some people have what I like to call the dick saw, which is nonetheless just a sawzall with a dick on the end of it, and you press the button and it just fucking rooters the shit out of you. And like we had a shout out to Kendra James. We had her on, and she actually pulled the thing out while we were on air. And like, it's literally like, who sits there and thinks, let's put a dick on the end of a saw. Like, that's like, whoever thought of that? Like, and I'm like, yeah, I can't even imagine like me just waking up one day and go, I got it. I have an idea. You lay down. I'm going to pull out the sawzall. What do you mean you're going to pull out the sawzall? Don't worry. And you just shove a dick on it and just fucking like that. Like, is that the only like device that you have like that, or do you have others?
So I have a really nice one. Outside of this one, I have one that was like $700 and it was like top of the line, and I hate it. Like, it's the worst. It's the worst one. Like, you have to have a relationship with your toys, right? And we broke up. Like, we broke up. Like, his name is Mr. D, and Mr. D is in the backseat of the car. We have not unpacked him. Like, he doesn't have anything to do with me anymore. It's Master D. There are some that are just too much.
Have you used more than one of those at one time?
No, I'm not that cool.
It's like you like
know if you could
like
survive
you
that.
just sit there and like someone pays for like the premium content, and they
Yes.
walk in and there's like just 7 of those facing towards you, and they're like, wait a minute, this looks like this is going to get very interesting very quick. Yeah.
Oh my God, I've thought of doing that. I think I'm going to. I want to buy like 3 of these and do like a threesome video with Master D's. You know what I mean? Like, or a foursome video with Master D's, like all around. Just like, yeah, I think that's a really good idea. I've thought about it and I think I'm in.
You're just being ravaged by Mr. D's, but you have to have a Mario on top of each one. Like, but it's like a different era of Mario. Like, it's like
or Luigi
Mario.
or a like Bowser. You know what I
Oh,
mean? You
yeah.
have different characters.
Yeah, Mario,
Yeah,
Luigi, and
Luigi.
Yoshi. Mario, Luigi,
Yes.
and Yoshi on top of each one, and
And
it's
Yoshi's got to have a green dick though.
and what we're gonna do, we're gonna get into our games. So we've been actually talking about a lot, and we're gonna get into our games, and we're gonna start it off with Incoherent. So Jess, have you ever played Incoherent before?
I have not.
Okay, so Incoherent.
she walks around with her beers. She's gonna be good at this game.
Yeah, she's gonna be awesome at this. So Incoherent, pretty much what it is, we're gonna show a series of cards that are in drunken lingo. You already have the advantage because you are drinking. So they're gonna be a drunken lingo, and you need to try to sound out that card and figure out what it says. And there's 2 hints on the back. So if you need hints on the back, let us know. So this is the first card. So what do you think that card says?
Hinsto Cram Starry. Hinsto Cram Starry.
I got it.
Instagram star.
Oh, you're close. You're close.
Am I the only one guessing?
I mean, do you need a hint? I know Tom knows it. Tom's like, I got it.
I need a hint.
All right, no filter.
That's the hint.
Yeah, that's the hint. And then the other one is, hey, Snapchat, sorry, not sorry.
Instagram story. Instagram story.
Yes, it is Instagram story.
Nailed it.
All right. So that's the first one. So let's get the second one up on here now. And so here we go. This is going to be the second one. So let's go ahead and hit this. And then what do you think this says?
Hadyoka. 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 Hadyoka.
One of the hints is warm stretching.
Oh, I got
Hot
it.
yoga.
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
wow.
It is hot yoga. And the other hint was exercising in the heat so you feel like you worked harder than what you did.
Have we ever
Okay.
had somebody that actually got 2 of those in a row?
It's very, very
It's a
rarely,
hard
very
game.
rarely. We might have to have her
Like
come
you said,
back
she's
for the
got
next
to practice
rumble.
because she's drunk.
Yeah, she's got to come back for the we every year we do we bring back 30 former guests and do the HH Pod Rumble with this game.
Which I should have
And
done
we
this year, by
had
the
somebody
way.
win and we sent them a championship belt. So maybe for the one that we do in June, if you want to come back, you can come back for that and be a part of the second HH Pod Rumble. So let me get the third one ready to go and we will see how you do with the third one. So,
Oh.
all right. So the
You're gonna
third
try
one,
to trick me.
the third one is going to be this. What do you think that says?
Water pong, water pong.
Now, is that you
Water-
sounding it out, or is that your guess?
Water pong. Is it like beer pong but with water, so you don't drink like dog
Yes,
hair?
it is water pong. Like it's funny because sometimes you sound them out and you don't realize you're saying it when you're saying
Wait,
it,
was
and
it
that's
water-
the best part
Was it water
about
pong
that.
or
Yeah, it's water pong.
water ball?
Which so speaking of which, you claim yourself as beer pong champion. So
Yeah.
when you play beer pong, do you play with water or do you play with beer?
So here's the thing, most of the time I do,
It's water.
yeah, most of the time I do play with
Uh,
water. I have dogs, there's hair, it can be a little, I don't know.
Well, guess what? I have dogs and there's hair, and I played beer pong where it's hit the ground. I picked the ball back up and I didn't care, and I drank grass. The only time I play beer. So if we do the happy hour podcast exclusive from Exotica with beer pong, we're playing with beer because we played with Four Loco before, and that got tragic very quick. Very quick.
We played with Everclear one
And
time.
yeah,
forgot
and
that.
we played with Bacardi 141 and we played with Everclear. So I like me,
You know, we were
I
playing with your dad. It was
yeah,
between your
yeah,
dad.
yeah,
like a
yeah.
team of Matt
And yeah,
Paul,
Bacardi
and we had
141, yeah.
151.
And we and
Your dad
yeah,
would kill
and it
that
got
kid.
serious. So that's the thing. So that was my thing, as I was like, I need to ask her if she plays with water, because that's the thing. The Jess Boots beer pong champion. Once you face Chase Rawlings, it's gonna be like, okay, you can play with water, but there's gonna be beer on my side, because the more beer that I drink, the better I get at beer pong. So that's why I like playing that way, because it's just kind of like, okay, you may start off making the first 5 cups, but once I drink these 5 cups, at that point, it's kind of like a building to something that is completely unreal. So, but yeah, but no, that'll be fun. And of course, let's see, what else do we have on here for the game? So, this is something we did not do last night, and that is our segment called Porn Parody versus Real Life. So I'm going to show 2 photos, and you're going to tell me which one you like better, the real version of it or the porn parody version of it. So
Okay.
what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to show the porn parody version of it, which is this one right here. So that is the porn parody version of Hulk Hogan, who of course is from Venice Beach, Florida. And that's the porn parody version of it from the God rest her soul, the China Royal Rumble gangbang porn that she
A
had.
cinematic classic.
Yes, a cinematic classic. And then the next one is, of course, Terry Bollea, the immortal Hulk Hogan. So, Jess, if you were faced with the first photo or the second photo of which one you would rather hook up with, would it be the porn parody version or would it be the authentic Hulk Hogan?
It has to be the authentic. That's real.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
That's real. He's ripping his shirt right in front of us.
And now me, like I choose the authentic mainly because there's not many other human beings I've ever seen in my life that have such a natural hot dog brown look to their body. Like he's literally like hot dog brown. Now, Psycho, if you could choose between this photo here, come around here. If you could choose between this photo or that photo, the regular Hogan, which one would you choose?
No, we got to go with the real.
The original. The original. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so Tom Nutty, you're feeling a little frisky. Which one do you think? You think?
I'm gonna take the porn parody guy because I'm pretty sure he fucks better.
I don't know. Hulk Hogan has been a porn. Let's not forget, Hogan wasn't a porn.
Yes, Hogan did have a porn that leaked. I watched it. It wasn't that great. I was not impressed.
It wasn't as good as Suburban Commando.
I wanted to see him drop the leg for sure at the end. That's what I wanted. Like I definitely wanted him to tear.
Just grab the girl and go. Now let me tell you something. What you're gonna do when Hulk Hogan's 24-inch pythons and penis come out on you?
And what we're going to do also is we're going to get into our segment called "What the Fuck Is That Food?" by Ray C Hawkings.
Oh, yeah.
So, of course, last night, like I did not find out what the food was, and Tommy Sambazo was like, "Well, what the fuck is it?" But so this one, I know exactly what it is. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull this up on the screen and we're going to try to figure out what it is. And then Jess, you're going to name that dish. So this is made by our friend Ray. He only uses an air fryer and he's paraplegic. So that is the food right there. What do you think that could possibly be? That
Corn dogs.
It's weird because yes, it looks like corn dogs, but what's going on right here? Like this looks like I feel like I have had this happen myself, like like this.
You have come on a corn dog before?
No, I feel like I've had this random eruption before.
Yeah, it was
like
in the bathroom at the club at your bachelor party.
but that's the thing. It's like that doesn't look like cheese to me. Like I feel like that might be like some sort of sauce. Like
I know what it is.
What is it?
I mean, like I've seen this in the camming world. Like it can be, you know, a form of male juices, but it's definitely mayonnaise because I can see the mayonnaise in the background.
Oh,
I cheat?
Oh God, yes, there is. Oh my God,
there
is mayonnaise in the background. Oh Jesus! Now, oh my God, like I'm so disgusted now. All right, Jesus fucking Christ, that's a fucking corn dog. I guess I would assume a hot dog inside of it with mayonnaise, and the mayonnaise is flowing out like man batter. And so, just if you were to name this dish, what would you name that?
Oh, John's juicy explosion dog. John's juicy explosion dog. I don't know why John, but
all right. So Tom Nutty, what do you think? She said John's juicy explosion dog, which completely took anything I was thinking of completely clear out of my mind. So what do you think that would be, Tom?
We'll just call it 2 dogs, 1 nut.
2 dogs, 1 nut. I'm gonna call it the man batter specialty. That because we can't confirm or deny whether or not there is an actual hot dog inside of whatever is going on there. It's supposed to be a corn dog, but I have no idea what else is inside of there. So, and Socrates, let her rip. What do you think that could be?
I would just call it hell to the no, because I ain't eating that shit.
And then what we're gonna do?
We're mayonnaise, but not on corn dogs.
Yeah, not at all. We're gonna conclude our game segment with Cards Against Humanity. Have you played Cards Against Humanity?
Yes.
Okay, so on the game, of course, we can't have games, we can't have cards in front of you. So we do Cards Against Humanity Roulette. So what we're going to do is we're going to read off the face card. You're going to pick a lucky number between 1 through 6 that's going to answer that card. If you don't like the answer, you get to pick another number. So the first one is charades was ruined for me forever when mom had to act out blank. So what do you think? 1 through 6.
Number 3.
Number 3. All right. So number 3. So charades was ruined forever when my mom had to act out your little booty in them underpants. So do you like that, or do you want to choose a different card?
No, you know what? I'm taking that. I like this.
You're going to choose. Okay.
I like it.
All right, cool. All right. So here's the second one. What has been making life difficult at the nudist colony? 1 through 6.
4.
4. All right. What has been making life difficult at the nudist colony? A big sloppy blowjob from a mean, tired cowboy. Are you satisfied with that, or do you want to choose another one?
Honestly, is it lame to be satisfied because it just works perfect? It works really good.
Like imagine that. Like there's just a mean, tired cowboy just slobbing on some like because
Is it Adam Page?
Yeah, like a nudist colony is mainly old people. Like I don't think you don't go to the nudist colony, you don't run into like Jess Boots at the nudist colony. Like that doesn't happen. Like you go there and it's like 89-year-old men. It's all like 89-year-old men. And if a Jess Boots did show up, they'd all would have heart attacks instantly. They would all pop boners and drop dead on the ground, like simultaneously, one after another.
As like a regular at a nude beach, I would say this is completely accurate. and I have to stand behind it because it's only old men. Like it's only older men. Like it's like that Euro trip movie.
Oh
where, like,
yeah.
yeah, that's what it is. So I have to stick with that answer.
I forgot all about that movie existing, like 100%. And what I'm going to do real quick, Jess, of course it's 6:50. Would you be able to hang out for a little bit longer?
Yeah.
All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run some ads. That's going to give us a little bit of a break in case anybody needs to hop up, use the bathroom, grab a drink, anything like that. And then we're going to be back probably another 15, 20 minutes or so. And then we will conclude the episode from there. So what we're going to play some ads from some of our friends. And then we will be back right here on the Happy Hour podcast, live on YouTube Live with Jess Boots. So we will be back momentarily. Let me just go ahead and get this set up because it's not pulling the one that I want it to pull. So let me do that. And then where's that?
This episode brought to you by Billy's Ball Bags.
Dude, I so want them to sponsor us.
Bro, that last clip you sent me, I tagged them and sent it to them. So we'll see what happens.
Nice. Yeah, I hope so. But anyways, without further ado, here's our ads for this week. And we'll be right back in 1 second right here on Happy Hour Podcast.
Hey, it's me, Natasha Nice, and you guys are watching the Happy Hour Podcast.
Approximately 27 members of the Hell's Gate cult have been arrested for arson. Authorities suspect that this group of religious extremists are responsible for the large string of residential fires that have been plaguing Miami-Dade County. The Hell's Gate followers aim to achieve the next level of human evolution by summoning demons through their depraved sexual rituals. These demons then take possession of their bodies, opening a direct gate to hell.
A new family moved in next door. We were just coming to introduce ourselves. Joshy, baby, what's wrong?
The neighbors. He was dragging a body across the yard. Cleanup's a bitch and your stepmom's a vampire.
You've got to stop with the horror movies.
I do watch a lot of horror movies. You guys are vampires, aren't you?
Vampires? In California?
What the fuck?
The California sun is not the best. But the desert nights, they're glorious.
What the fuck?
Van Helsing broke into my house.
I was finally able to find Reagan's lair. So now, I'm gonna slay her.
Sadly for him, he's about to become my new sex slave.
In a world full of hunger and thirst, one restaurant will attempt to satisfy these cravings forever. Meet our hero, the cheeseburger, and his salty partner, crab dip tater tots. Together, with local craft beer, they take the fight to hunger. With a special appearance by Cupcake Milkshake, they... Vagabond Sandwich Company. Better making food than making commercials.
You are friggin' listening to the Happy Hour Podcast. I'm Jake the Snake Roberts, giving you that information.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Happy Hour Podcast. Of course, I'm Ray. We're still here. Tom Nutty's still here. Socrates is still here. Jess Boots is still here. Of course, shout out to Team Skeet and MILF.com. Of course, last night was our exclusive episode that we did for them featuring Leanna Lovings and Reagan Fox. Those are the scenes that they're currently doing. Make sure you go over there and check those out. And also, big shout out to Ben over at Vagabond Sandwich Company. I'm going to have a local guest on. I'm not going to say who quite yet, but he's kind of known like in kind of like the fighting type world or whatever. He's more of a local guest. We're going to try to see if we can do a live episode at Vagabond Sandwich Company with him for when that episode comes up. Oh yeah, the cupcake milkshakes look brutal. But so Jess, so of course Halloween is right around the corner. So, of course you have the Florida man from Florida. And, I mean, Christ, you're drinking his nectar out of a can. So, what other kind of creepy type things or urban legend type things you know of that's down in your area where you are?
I don't really know a ton of urban legends like from down here. I researched yours a little bit, the Maryland goat.
Yeah.
So I'm very interested in that, but I don't really know of a whole lot of like myths or anything besides like, alien spottings.
Yeah,
and Amish beachgoers.
Yeah, the Amish beachgoers.
Yeah.
And of course, last night, like we got a little bit into the Goatman last night, and we're going to get a little bit into it tonight also. And of course, the Goatman shows up. He's like, obviously, he's a cryptid, and it's one of those things where he would like, let's say, Jess, you sit there and you and your boyfriend, you're like, okay, back in the 70s, 80s. You drive into, a desolate area in the woods, and one of two things is going to happen. You're either being murdered or you're having sex. That's the only reason why you drive back in the woods around that time to, do anything. And apparently, like, the Goatman would haunt, come out and scare off people, lovers there. And it was said that pretty much he was a failed like experiment. Like they tried to, it was like some sort of like Russian type weird military thing that they did here in America, where they try to fuse like a goat and a man together. And that's how the Goatman came to be.
Well, that's based on a real thing, because in World War II, Stalin tried to breed human females with gorillas to make super gorilla fighters.
He also made a
Spoiler
dog.
alert, it didn't work.
Yeah, and they also had like dogs with like two heads and shit, which was weird. So
it was a giraffe possum. Is that what they call it?
Yeah, the giraffe possum.
It's a short neck giraffe. That's called a horse.
Tommy Sambazo looked up where Reagan Starr was from, and he said, "Now, Jess, are you originally from Florida, or are you from somewhere else?"
I'm from New England.
You're from New England. Okay.
Yeah.
So here's what we'll do. We'll do what Tommy did last night, and we will look up New England cryptids. And let's see what pops up. So, monsters of New England. So, no, well, you said you're from England.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's New England. I don't want New England. I want
England. Said New England.
No, New England.
Right. Okay. So
yeah.
She sounds like she's British.
I have a weird sound to my voice.
Now, I've just been drinking a little bit. All right. So, let's see. So you guys have Bigfoot, which Bigfoot obviously is a huge one. Sea serpents, a thunderbird. So, all right.
I haven't heard of any of these.
Yeah, it says the thunderbird. There have been numerous reported sightings of a giant condor-like bird of Native American lore. One of the most dramatic incidents occurred at 2 a.m. on a late summer's night in 1971. I feel like a lot of these are in the 70s, mainly because people were on such good drugs then that, like, it's not like worn down.
There was no internet to fact check these people that just made shit up.
It was these people just completely fucked up, like whacked out of their minds. And it said the Norton Police Sergeant Thomas Downey was driving along Winter Street in Mansfield towards his home in Easton as he approached a place known as Bird Hill. Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, we're going to see a thunderbird in Bird Hill, like at the edge of the hammock swamp. And he was confronted by a tremendous winged creature over 6 foot tall with a wingspan of 8 to 12 feet. So wait, so don't some like eagles and falcons, like there's birds that have like a wingspan that's like that long, like that exists. So instead a patrol car searched for the area but found nothing. For weeks after, fellow officers dubbed him the Birdman, but Downey stuck to his story.
Wait a minute, is Coco beware of this?
Yeah.
Coco beware aware of this, because that's gimmick infringement.
And then there's the Beast of Truro. It says
it's just some homeless guy from Boston.
It says one of the most famous mystery cats in modern Massachusetts. Okay, it could be a fucking random guy in Boston. Is the Beast of Truro. In September of 1981, an unidentified predator began killing pets and livestock. That sounds like the fucking chupacabra. Like
Yeah, they couldn't spell it up there, so they were like, call it something else.
They couldn't say it like with their Boston accent.
That's a fucking chupacabra.
Which funny story? On last night's episode, Tommy was talking about there's a
I went to
show
Fenway Park and I saw a chupacabra.
on Adult Swim with Mike Tyson, and it's kind of like a Scooby-Doo mysteries type show, but Mike Tyson narrates it. And they had the chupacabra, and Mike Tyson just kind of say, he was like, the chupacabra, and like they left it in. Like it sounded like you were saying chimichanga. And like they left it in, like just the way it was. And
I think we need to watch that and do a review of it on the show.
yeah, it says the first domestic cats were attacked, killed, and mutilated. One eyewitness later quote the New York Times as saying the killer had a long, rope-like curved J-shaped tail and weighed an upward of 80 pounds with short ears. Like, I love how they guesstimate. Oh, well, you know, this beast weighs 80 pounds. Like, I mean, like, how do you just guesstimate weight? So the Silver Lake monsters, the Specter moose. Okay, what's a Specter moose? From the 18
motherfuckers are tripping.
From the 18 there's a like Jess, I apologize, but there were a lot of drugs in New England. Like obviously, like, because if there's a moose monster, then you know there's a lot of good shit happening there.
There's a lot of good drugs and a lack of imagination.
It's like acid, I think. It's like acid or mushrooms, I think, is like the result of what they're seeing. I don't think that's
it says
like,
from
why
the
would you see this one animal there, you know?
He's like, I saw this monster, man.
Yeah,
It looked like a moose.
Yeah, it was a
And the
moose.
guy's like, well, was it a moose?
Well, was it a moose? I don't know. He had a squirrel friend with him. Wait a minute. Were you watching Rocky and Bullwinkle? Like,
yeah.
From the 1890s to the 1930s, reports arose in the area of Bangor of a large moose upward of 2,500 pounds and 15 feet tall with a 10-foot antler spread. That's a regular moose and dusky white in color. Hunters have gone in search of the so-called giant Specter moose because of its coloring, with reports of sighting of one or more beasts around Lobster Lake. Well, if they're hanging around a fucking Lobster Lake, like, I mean, I guess so. And all right, let's see. So Pudgewalkies. What are fucking Pudgewalkies?
That's why the taxes are so high there.
Yeah.
Because they're looking up this stuff.
Oh, in the 1970s, this is all the 70s, man. These guys are like on fucking acid, like crazy. Like I defined a specific area of spookiness and strangeness in Massachusetts, which became known as by cryptozoology. I can't even say the word.
Come on, Mike Tyson, you got it.
As the Bridgewater Triangle.
The Bridgewater Triangle.
And Rehoboth from the corners. So you know about the Bridgewater Triangle.
This one might be real.
Okay. So
this one might be real.
So in the Bridgewater Triangles, do like planes and boats go missing like the Bermuda Triangle? Or is it just like people hopped off of acid?
It's just a shitty neighborhood.
Yeah, it's like a bad part of town and they just go missing. And it says from Abingdon to Freetown and Rehoboth, from the corners of the triangles, the areas have been a locus of reports of many bizarre creatures. Perhaps the most weird is none other than the Pudgewalkies. The word Pudgewalkie is a Delaware and Wanawaka word that means little wild man of the forest. So is it like just some angry midget that lives in the woods? Like,
is it like a fat Ewok?
Yeah, it's like a fat Ewok. Like, that's like the creatures were a part of the Native American traditions and said to be dwarf-like humanoids with gray skin and large ears, fingers, and noses. All manners of magical powers, abilities, and traits are associated with them, including behaviors such as disappointing and shape-shifting. Some have said to possess poison and arrows that are able to start fires. So these are like fucking like weird like cupids that like shoot like poison fucking arrows and shit.
If you ran into one of these things, would you fuck it?
I mean, it depends on like it's the 70s, so it depends on how much acid I've had at that point. Like
you can only see them on acid, dude.
yeah. there can be only one. Like, so if you can only see it at acid, that's like a great time. Like imagine walking into the woods, you're in acid, you see like this little like elf creature, and it has like that machine that Jess showed us, and it's just in the woods, and it's like, come on, come with me. We're going to have a good time right now. And it's like, at that point, it's like, all right, well, fuck it. On all fours I go. This thing can position itself however it wants. Have fun, Pudgewalkie. Have fun, Pudgewalkie. It sounds like it's from Milwaukee. Like, I don't know if I'm saying that right, but it's a weird spell. Like, Tom, how do you think, I'm going to spell this out. And how do you think this would be spelled? So here, let's see. It is PUKWD GEES, Puck Woodgies. Like,
I think they were high when they made up the word.
Yeah, like I feel like somebody's high and they're like, that's a Pudgewalkie. That's a Pudgewalkie.
It sounds
like
it'd be an Incoherent game.
Yeah, that's Inco. That's a new word.
It was just a fucking homeless guy eating pastrami, and somebody fucking was so high on acid that's the story that came back.
Oh man. And
like, why don't we name it something with no vowels in the name? That would be cool.
And of course, one of the things that we had here, we've been going over all kinds. We got a little bit into the Goatman last night, but another one here, and then after we go through this, Jess, we'll let you go ahead and get out of here, was Chessie the sea monster. Tom, have you ever heard of Chessie the sea monster? Apparently it is our version of Loch Ness, but it's a sea monster that lives in the Chesapeake Bay. And it says winter only means that the very brave or very crazy are dipping into the waters of the Chesapeake Bay. That might be a good thing. Beneath the calm waters of our beloved bay, a monster lurks, or so Maryland lore would have us believe. On a clear night in 1982, Robert Few and his wife Karen entertained friends at their home along the bay. Around 7:30 p.m., they claimed that when the calm water reflected on the low sun's rays, Robert looked out and admired the scenes. Look at that thing floating over there, he remembers saying. Was it a log? The 7-foot-long object was floating along the tide, and it must have been propelling itself, and then it disappeared, and everyone kept their eyes on the water. It reappeared and was 40 feet long by Robert's guessing as they watched in awe, and then it dawned on him. They needed to catch whatever it was on camera. 5 minutes later, Robert had captured Chessie, the Chesapeake Bay monster, on video. The grainy footage aired on WJZ TV, but wasn't the first sighting of Chessie, at least, and isn't the last. So the first sighting of a sea monster in the bay came in 1846. Holy shit, I didn't know that Chessie went back that far. I know there was a lot of speculation that some of the things people were seeing in the bay was a manatee, and they were mistaking it for a sea monster. But Chessie has been around for a while. And Jess, do you think that there's like any kind of like creature, like Florida? Of course, you have all kinds. You have swamplands, you have the ocean, you have all kinds of shit going on there. Do you think that there's any kind of like weird cryptic type beasts that are there?
Yeah, I believe in sea monsters for sure. I don't think we know enough about the ocean and what's underwater.
Oh yeah.
I feel like there's some stuff down there that we do not know about. Have you ever watched like the stuff that is washed up on the sea, like the different creepy things that looks like little aliens and stuff? Like, I believe anything creepy about the ocean.
We explore like 20% of the whole ocean. So
oh
we have
yeah,
no idea what's
and I mean that's the thing. Like, I'm kind of afraid myself to actually go into water type environments because of shit like that. And well, speaking of which,
if anybody's afraid of the water, I just sent the picture over to Ray of the actual Chessie, the video they took.
That thing, yes,
and it's right here.
That's what the guy saw. Clearly high on methamphetamine. This is what he saw: the whimsical costume of Chessie, the Chesapeake Bay monster, at the 4th annual Maryland Fairy Festival. So, okay, well that's some fun.
Chessie. I wonder if that's what she was doing there. Yeah. Here's the thing, though. They just said that the back river has an acceptable level of E. coli.
Oh, well, that makes
So,
sense.
yeah,
I would
you
imagine
never
back
know
when
what
we
could be
had
in
it.
there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing. Like, it's weird because when you look in the ocean, like I feel like going into the ocean, like I'm a pool guy. Like I will swim in a pool all day long. But when it comes to like going into a body of water, nope, fuck that. Something's gonna kill me in there. And it's just and you're right. Like I think it's what 90% of our oceans have never been explored.
We actually
Like,
explored
fucking Atlantis could be fucking there. Like we don't fucking know that. Like all these fucking mermen and merwomen just living downstairs, fucking each other with sex machines, like what Jess Boots has, and we don't know. Like we have no idea what's going on. But what we're gonna do is, of course, we're gonna get ready to try to get out of here. Of course, Jess, you joined us a little bit early. We appreciate you coming onto the Happy Hour podcast. Of course, we'd love to shoot it from the hip. We just love to talk about shit. That's what it is. It's like sitting down and having a few beers and just talking about stuff. And I definitely need to find that beer. I'm going to order some online. I need to have Florida Man in my mouth. Like I need to like just drink down the sweet nectar that is Florida Man.
If you play beer pong against her, you got to use that.
Yeah. And if we play beer pong, if we do the DC, beer pong thing, we need to use the Florida Man beer, because then we're just consuming Florida Man throughout the whole entire, thing. So maybe we'll have something. We'll get that set up.
She said it's like
do
8.5%
something with it.
alcohol. So
Well, no, that's all right. I can just Uber home, like whatever. But no. So Jess, where can everybody find you that want to look up your content?
So my main thing that I'm doing is like Twitter, I guess. Like most of my stuff to navigate through everything else that you want to find is on Twitter. So it's Jess the Innocent. And then that leads you to, if you want to look at like whatever, OnlyFans or Chatterbait or whatever. I mean, I focus most of my attention on Chatterbait. That's where everything, all my following is and everything. But, Twitter is where I do most of my, I don't know. I don't even know what you call it.
Have you considered making a social media account for the Master D?
You know what? That's absolutely genius, because there are people that really love Master D. So people know him by name. A lot of people ask Master D for, by name and stuff. So maybe I should
just make him an Instagram. That's all you got to do.
Yeah, especially if you get an army of those. Like you can take a photo and it's like you in the middle of the room and all the Master Ds are just like looking at you, and it's just like that. Yeah. So that's yours. That you now own that. Like we gave you that idea. It's now
giving
yours.
me ideas.
But what we're gonna do, we're gonna go ahead and conclude our episode right here on YouTube Live. Jess, would you be able to hang out for one extra second once we're done?
Absolutely, yeah.
Awesome. So we're going to go ahead and conclude right here on the Happy Hour podcast. We're going to be right back here again next Sunday. Next Sunday, we're going to be right back here on YouTube Live. We're going to be coming around the same time, 6:00 p.m. And our guest is actually our first official guest that we had on the Happy Hour podcast when we started in 2020, that being adult film star Sophia West. It's been about 2 years since she's been on the show. So she will be joining us again next week right here on the Happy Hour podcast. And Tom, man, always thank you for coming in. Socrates, thank you. And Jess, thank you to you, Mr. D or Master D and Mario, of course, for coming on and joining us on the Happy Hour podcast. This is going to conclude our YouTube episode, and we will see you guys next week. All right. So we are